actual raw milk. If you guys can get super clean raw goat milk kefir, goat milk and cow milk raw kefir is fantastic because you took a really great product, then you added, you know, healthy probiotic bacteria to it and made it a superfood. If you guys want to lean into that, I'm not a huge user of superfood terminology, but if there was one, that would be it. So getting a hold of that and bringing that in would be super beneficial. A lot of you guys who are like, no, I can't do that, I have dairy issues. Very few people have issues with actual God-made dairy, which is the thing from a clean cow. Now, when we look at, well, I can't drink milk from the store, so I have a dairy issue. Milk from the store is not milk from a cow. Like, let's look at this chemically. They've made it so that, they've homogenized it so the cream no longer rises to the top. They've literally altered this so much that physics no longer applies to it. Density is no longer a thing. They've physically and chemically altered it to the point where cream won't rise to the top. So that's not great. They flash boiled it to kill any any positive bacterial function it had while damaging the protein that's in it, radically increasing its inflammatory process. So yeah, everyone's going to have a problem with store-bought dairy. You shouldn't consume it, which is one of the reasons I tell everybody that cereal is the very worst thing you can put in your body, because it's highly processed carbohydrates and dyes and artificial flavors and all sorts of trash. Then you put milk in it, which is highly inflammatory to the vast majority of us. So that's why cereals, is one of the worst things you can consume. But if you can find a actual raw milk from a dairy that actually has clean cows, which is, fed mostly grass, no corn, no GMO stuff, they're not injected with all sorts of, hormones and RBH and, COVID vaccines and all sorts of trash. They're not eating genetically modified grain and corn, then that milk is going to be highly beneficial to restoring function in your gut. Especially, like I said, if it's a kefir form, and goat milk kefir is probably my favorite for restoring gut function. So those are the things I would start looking at when you're looking at parasitic function, especially to rebuild everything. That path would be the one that I would tell you guys to walk down. If you guys need help with it, get a hold of the office. We'll help you walk through it. It's not super difficult, but it's really, really, really important to overall health, especially for you mamas that are looking to get pregnant or are already pregnant. There are parasitic cleanses you can and should do. You got to go a little bit slower. You got to take a lot more care of the liver and the kidneys. But depending on where you are in your pregnancy, there's different ways you got to do it. But it is super, super important to get that stuff done.